on a topic called Shifts in Technique, a new journey of discovery. We'll touch on mainly the art practice of talent, and then also his journey, mainly his journey from where he is been to what he's currently dealing with, and also get to know more about who talent is in general, and also touch on the new dispensation of COVID, being in the now we're living in the times of COVID, and how he has adapted to that as well. But also we'll also find out also about what are his projections are for the future, and as an artist, where he's going to technique wise, as well as where he wants to go in terms of dealing with subjects. Yeah, I will be waiting for talent, and welcome everyone. I see Mr. Raphael Chikuko. Welcome aboard, and also Clifford and Valerie. Welcome aboard. And hi, Valerie. How are you?
Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Great.
How is? Thanks a lot for this opportunity. Thanks for setting it up.
Yeah. No. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. No, it's an honor. It's a pleasure.
Great.
Artists, so we're glad to have on that list people that we've seen face to face. Welcome, Natalie. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome also Pardon Mapondera. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, it's Shifts in Technique, a new journey of discovery with talent, and I myself am Mthabisi Phili. Welcome also Mr. Raphael Chikuko.
Hello.
Hi, talent.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, already tuned in is Valerie Sitole, as well as Mr. Raphael Chikukwa and Pardon, and Natalie, and all the other guys joining us. Thank you very much. Welcome to Shifts in Technique, a journey of discovery. Myself discussing with talent Kapadza. Kapadza, you can say something.
Yeah, great, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm very pleased to be with you today. I'm deeply honored having this shifting techniques. Great.
Yes. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. So yeah, we'll get straight to it. For some familiar with Talent's work, you already have an idea, but this will this is a good platform to find out about the artist. And I think the talk is Shifts in Technique, a new journey of discovery. So I think we'll go straight to the point and find out who is Talent, and in terms of talent as an artist. So who is Talent? Let's talk. Who's Talent, and when did Talent begin his art career?
Talent is a visual artist, painter. Is more exposed to the world of the spirit in terms of the realms of the spiritual, the nature that exists beyond our physical being. I'm more into conceptual art. I really enjoy being in the dimension of the spiritual zone where you really gain more freedom in terms of liberty, liberty of the mind, liberty of the things that you always try and find in this physical world and you don't get them. So that realm is a realm that has got the freedom that gives you creativity in terms of studio experiments, in terms of techniques, in terms of the journey that you take as an artist. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So where did you? I will get to that, or we'll come back to that point again. And then I wanted to find out where did you get? Where did you begin your career? When did you begin?
Oh, great.
Just a little bit more on
I've started at a very early age when I was still in school. The signs just appeared where you start picking up a pencil, you start sketching, you start drawing. As you grow, then you find that I think I have something that is pushing me within. That's where you start finding ways. For an example, you engage art lessons from primary. I did engage some in high school, and later on end up engaging with the galleries and private institutions that gives art tutorials. So that's more of a brief journey that I've took in currently. I'm now a resident artist here at the National Gallery for the last 5 to 6 years now. As a practicing artist in the studio where you really enjoy the space and you really experiment and meet other artists and curators who can actually show you direction, where you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to be doing, and try to give you the right direction.
Okay. Oh, thanks a lot for that. So we can say you're mainly self-taught?
I think to say that I'm a self-taught, it blocks a lot of things. Myself, I had to study art. So being a self-taught, it becomes more experimental in terms of works that I'm creating now, whereby I have to research more and study more so that I can break the boundaries in terms of creating an art movement. For an example, I've come up with what you call Iconoclasm. It's an art movement that I've tried to image that can balance the type of the work that I've been doing with more lines and more of grotesque, more of distorted at the same time, and break things into pieces.
Okay, so your medium is mainly is it acrylic on canvas?
Not really acrylic on canvas. I'm more experimental artist. I do a lot of multimedia. I did a lot of mixed media, acrylics with oils. I did acrylics with some found objects. So I did a lot of experiments with mediums.
Also, you experiment,
yeah.
we can say, yeah. Okay. No, that's interesting. So from I wanted to find out, let's say, where we can say you began to do something, let's say, serious in terms of where you're on a we can say you are now conscious of
Okay.
a path. Yeah, when did you begin? Is it 5 years ago? Yeah.
I believe that was in 2015. When I started to sit down and think of concepts, where I started my first solo exhibition, Looking Beyond Vision. So that's where I really started to say, this is the new beginning, this is the new journey. I have to look more beyond the vision that I have right now. Can I take it to another level? That's where I've started to break ideas and coming up with the second solo exhibition, Grotesque, and the third one, which I've come up with cultural diversity.
Okay,
So that's where I've started from.
So what can we say? Since we're saying you're shifting techniques, what can we say? Can we say what can you tell us about the journey and the difference between now and then in terms of your art practice?
Yeah, from where I've begun, a lot of influence from different artists who were surrounding me in terms of trying to image those ideas with my ideas and try to come up with something complete. And now I've tried to really create my own journey whereby I don't really look more into someone's work and try to image their ideas into my work. So currently, coming up with a concept where I have to sit down and think about it and do it the way I want it to be like.
Okay, so we can say now you initially you were appropriating a lot from other artists, seeing what they are doing and also trying to incorporate those inspirations and techniques. But now you're mainly focusing very much on your own thought processes. You've learned a lot. Now you're in your own zone, and that's the difference. Less influence now. You have more confidence now. Can we say you have now more confidence to pursue your own trajectory, your own desires, and your own pathways in terms of what you're doing?
Yes, definitely. I'll say yes to that. You know, I've experienced a lot of liberty when I got an opportunity to use a studio as a solo artist. So that's where I've started to have that liberty of experimenting and exploring ideas. So the confidence is there that I have to come up with what we call an art movement, the one that I recently told you about, more of neo-iconoclasm aesthetics. So mainly it's all about the shifting and the movement of the techniques from where I've begun when you look at the journey, the experiments that I've been doing in the studio and the work that I've been creating, definitely you would see the transitioning of everything.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. So let's you've said a lot of the word technique, right? And then we can from your own description, you say that you use a lot of dripping. But maybe before we get to that, maybe let's talk about the type of artist, because you showed me a list. In the list, there's Rashid Jogi. A list of people that inspire you, a list of artists that inspire you. Rashid Jogi, you have Kapadza, you have also Jackson Pollock, of which when you say Jackson Pollock and Rashid Jogi, yes, I do see some of their influence in your work. So maybe can you tell us more about how these people or these artists have impacted you on your artwork, and also to do this journey of discovery, and to do this journey of techniques.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Starting with Rashid Jogi, when I first came here, the gallery, during my experiments, and I tried to understand the concept of doing abstracts. And Rashid was one of the pioneers here in Zimbabwe, especially in Bulawayo here, where you can see some of his work. You can visit his studio, he can talk to you, he can respond, he can explain all the details about his work. And one thing that made me more influenced by Rashid's work is the simplicity, from some of his abstracts. There are two pieces that I really appreciate. The first one, Tirubikachi, What's Cooking, and the other one, The Crucifix. So those are pieces that are more simplified. And in terms of abstraction, they really contribute in some of my work. In Kapadza was one of the resident artists. When I first came to the gallery, he was more of an imaging curator, and you could go beyond the normal. You could explore more. He never actually wanted the comfort zone in terms of exploring experiments in techniques and found objects, creative in terms of masks as well. So say, yeah, those are the people locally, more of influence in some of my works. Then when I look at American painter Jackson Pollock, there's a concept that I was working on. Mainly, I was looking at what we call social connection in terms of when you talk of part of technology. At the moment, everything is being moved by technology. By doing that, then I'll say, okay, what's really more I can add on to some of my concept. So I find a line as a basic element, the line of connection. So when I'm doing my researches and my study, so I pick Jackson Pollock, his some of dripping and splashes of lines. So why that? Because I really like the idea that when he was painting, he definitely would say that I don't see accident as an accident. So by saying that, sometimes when you mess up paint, when you mess it up, it doesn't matter how you mess it up, but the reason being you able to mess it up Why are you messing it up that way? When you know the idea of messing it up. My idea was to understand the when you find people getting hacked online and people posting some insults online, those are the other things that I like to look at and say, okay, I think there's more chaos in looking at those lines. So that chaos can disturb, but at the same time, when you look closely, that chaos moves with something. So it's more like a wind, and it becomes so visible, more like waves. Sometimes we get connected, but you don't see the visibility of the waves, but they do exist.
Okay, so that's an interesting that's an interesting narrative that you've just said. So accident and the lines are meeting. Yeah, yes, I do see the lines in your drawings, the masks as well, and also I do see the dripping and the concept of accident through the paintings themselves. That's very interesting. Hence the abstraction, then I think. Hence the abstraction. We also still welcoming more people. Welcome Mr. Dumisani Ndlovu and others. Welcome to the discussion, to the conversations with Talent Kapadza, titled Shifts in Technique, a new discovery, a new journey of discovery. Welcome everyone. Yes, Talent, picking on that, what you've just said. You did highlight and mention the idea of accident and the line and how that is connected. So now, when I look at the people that you've mentioned, Rashid Jogi, for instance, there's a lot of emotion that he puts to his paintings. There's a lot of emotion invested there. He actually writes sometimes, and then he paints over it with a brush. He writes things that are very meaningful to him, and then there's a lot of emotional connection to his process. Same as with Jackson Pollock, though of course he was a bit more technical and didn't dwell much on his emotional investment as much as we would say Rashid does. So I wanted to find out whether there's a lot of emotion invested in your work and a lot of emotion invested in your process.
All right. I strongly believe that every piece that an artist creates, it's more like giving birth. So definitely, it's not easy when you're giving birth and you don't add part of you in it. So emotions, yes, they'll be there in each and every piece that you create. For an example, there's a piece when I'm building up a piece or a certain body of work, come up with what we call layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. So those layers definitely has to depict something in terms of what you're thinking, what you've been observing, what you've been seeing, or what you've been studying. So after creating those layers, then I break the layers into pieces. So when I'm breaking the layers into pieces, I'm trying to rebuild, build it up, build it up, build it up. So it becomes more like a puzzle. And when it's into pieces, it's up to the mind. That is why I take time when studying and observing my work before I give the title, because I need it to resonate with me. I just don't need the piece to be just put away. I just need it to be part of me. That resonance, it connects myself and the work. So when you see the work, you have to see me in the work. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot for that. Yeah. So is there why the reason why I asked the question of whether there's a lot of emotion invested in your work? I wanted to for us to talk about the idea of not the idea, but with art sometimes there's a technique, and then there's also technique, which is the physical aspect of the artwork, and then there's also now the message or the emotion behind that. I wanted to find out how much is there and do you prioritize one over the other? Do you focus more on technique than you actually focus on saying or communicating a message to the audience through your work? What do you focus on?
All right, great. Mainly, the focus can be a bit diverse. When I'm creating a concept, for an example, that's the main thing that I have to start by saying, all right, when the concept is ready, then I try to find a path that can lead me to a painting. Before the painting on canvas, find it complete already. So mainly what I will be focusing on, let me give you three things that I can say. For an example, let's say number one, the main focus is to enjoy the painting.
Okay.
When you look at the painting, you have a good relationship with the painting. You have to love it. So that's the main thing that I have to focus on. Then the second thing is the value of the painting. What adds value to the painting in terms of the viewer, in terms of the audience? What do they value in the artwork? For an example, art collectors, what do they value in the work? Is it the technique? Is it the scale? Is it the way it's done? Or is it because it's expensive, or is it cheap, or is it affordable? So that is more of the second thing. Then the third thing is the concept. So the concept, when I create a piece, my focus is on the concept before I think of the money, before I think of the title. So the concept, why am I creating these lines? Why am I making these lines so intertwined? So I find that by creating those lines, I find the disturbance, the waves, when sometimes you try and connect, for an example, the part of technology, where I always say that the Wi-Fi that you search for every day constantly, sometimes you don't find the waves that you want to get connected to. So by not getting connected to that, then it's so disturbing. Then, so that's the main umbrella of everything that I'll be focusing on, the concept. And lines that I'm working on currently, those ones are more vertical lines, shifting from the intertwined and the disturbing and all those disturbing lines. But now those lines that I'm focusing on at the moment are directly from above. For an example, these lines just to depict the connection between the mankind and his creator, who is who's the Father above, the supreme source.
Okay. So there's we can, all right, now the idea of spirituality is coming out, the idea of religion is coming out. Okay, so all right, I see that, because that's where I was trying to head to, because there's a German artist, maybe you'll know him, called Ansel Kilmer, who uses a lot of layering in his work because he's Jewish. He's done a lot of work in line with the persecution of Jews by Hitler. So he puts a lot of layers in his work, from soil to oil paint to glue, and he even sticks in. He even writes on the paintings, and then he even puts grass. Okay, and all these become meta that he uses that have a symbolical meaning and give the work more depth, as well physically as well as in terms of concept and value. So he does a lot of that. I'm glad that you said and explain to us the meaning of the lines going up and down, because it'll be good to know more of the reason why you have the lines and why the lines are maybe why your paintings are sometimes thick, because some I've seen that from the beginning to now, they've been getting thicker and thicker in terms of how that's good to know. Yeah. So in terms of subjects, I've noticed that you deal a lot, a large amount of your work, unless I haven't been seeing a lot of it, but I've noticed that there's a lot of landscapes. I don't know whether you have an inclination towards landscapes or portraiture. Yeah, if you can say something about that.
Yes, I really love landscapes a lot. I would probably take myself as a landscape artist or as a landscape painter. I've painted portraits, I've painted different subjects, but landscape become the main major thing that I really enjoy doing. For an example, when I see the lens, if, for an example, it starts from my garden when I'm at home. When I look at the garden, I just feel there's something missing. If there's no tree, then if there's, the flowers are missing, then I just feel like there are some ingredients that are missing. So, landscape, yes, it's the main major thing. I love painting landscapes a lot.
Okay. Now let's connect your shifting techniques. Let's connect because you have a lot of drawings as well.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of masks or faces, can I say? Yes. And then you have these paintings as well. So let's connect that. How do we connect that? How do you connect that? What do you have to say about that?
All right. Normally what I do, I don't bring all these ideas together at a time. I build the idea, then I journey with the idea to an end. For an example, when I was doing the mask, I did a lot of the masks. There was a certain concept for grotesque, the exhibition, the solo exhibition. So from there, it becomes more like a catalog that you have to open and close, and then move on to the next level where you have to open another catalog and start a journey and complete the journey and close it, and open another one, then start a journey and close it. So mainly it's all about a journey, and the journey it has to have a transition. So once transition from point A to point B, then you get to take C, then you go to D. Then it always moves like that. Then the other thing, the other drawings that I've been working on, some they were just more like fetus that are still in the womb. They're not yet a baby. They don't cry. So once you give birth to a baby, we need to actually hear the cry, the sound, the baby is alive. So all those sketches, some of them I just filed them, I just complete and try to compile everything and put them aside. They become more of an idea to take me to a final execution of the work.
Okay. Okay. So about the current situation in terms of COVID, how COVID and the lockdown, has it worked out well? Has it given you more time to paint? That's the first question. Second, do you find yourself coping well with the need to go visual and to go into social media platforms more than in a normal setup? How is this new scenario affecting you and your work and how you work?
Actually, the new normal really disturbed. I may say it really disturbed the way I wanted to work. For an example, I still have some pending exhibitions that I was supposed to complete in March and exhibit in April, the 40th Zimbabwe independence. And all those are still pending. At the same time, I had to explore more in terms of creating what we call the art of continuity. When things got messed up and you don't have the comfort zone that you always have as an artist. So I had to explore in terms of ideas to image some of the paintings that I've painted before and try and continue with those and bring up what we say, should I come up with this? And finally, I created what we call healing pieces. I came up with a lot of healing pieces. I think if you check the exhibition that is going to come, Art Inescapable, I think I have some of those new of my healing pieces where sometimes I just create the washes only in oil and in charcoal. So that challenge gave me another opportunity to find within me a piece or painting that can heal not only me but the other people also who's gonna look at them. So yeah, it really contributed a lot in terms of changing the way or in terms of moving on by creating all those new modes of creativity.
Okay. Um, I see. Thanks a lot for that. Personally, I've I would say that with COVID coming on, I've found myself having more time to paint, and because I've been solely focused on just painting and doing other things, but it has presented me with an opportunity to paint more than I usually have a time in. So I don't know it's a sort of like a good and bad at the same time. It's good and bad at the same time. So is there any like do you have an idea as to where you're going to now? Like where are you heading to? Do you have an idea from now and going forward? Is there already another concept that is in your mind that you're itching to put on some canvas?
Yes. Currently, I'm working on some of what we call mash bends techniques. It's something more superimposed on top of my work, and lines also appearing at the same time, and the dark shadows of gray in it. So yeah, I would always say I'll try and find a way of creating a new journey after one after the other. So then the other thing in terms of concepts, yeah, at the moment I'm trying to come up with a lot of experiments, and I have a project that is running at the moment. It's called You the World. You the World is a project from my school. So mainly myself as a visual artist, I also wanted to represent the visual world in terms of the visual sector, apart from healing the world in a different genre or different manner. Some they play music, some they dance, some they perform. So those things, it's a different genre of art. But myself as a visual artist, so we had to try and come up with an idea where every year we come up with a concept. So for from 2016, then we exhibited first launch exhibition that was
Okay.
spiritual resonance. That was in 2017. So it's a 10-year project. So I still have got a lot of things that are coming, and there's still a lot of things that I'm hoping to collaborate with different artists. It's open to the world. It's not a Zimbabwean project only. It's connecting with the world. Yeah.
It's good to know that you're doing all this. I wanted to find out from you if before we give others the chance to respond to this conversation, before we do that, I wanted to find out from you whether there's more that you would want to say, or there's also something that you want to say before we do that.
All right. Just want to thank you for this platform and all the listeners who are online, visual, and some who are just watching. I just say thank you, welcome. That's all.
All right. I think we now give the platform to anybody who would like to say something and input into these conversations, or ask Talent any questions, or ask me any questions. Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead,
please.
please.
Hello.
Yes,
Can you?
Valerie, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Hi, Talent. How are
Hey,
you
Valerie.
doing? Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. We really
You're welcome.
appreciate it. Okay, this is a very interesting conversation. What I've observed about your work is so clean. I've never seen a painting of yours where I think, oh no, he made a mistake there, and then he covered up that mistake with something else. Uh, what I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
um, what is the reason behind your neatness? Is it that you feel awkward when it's messed up? What will be going on in your mind? Because all your work is very clean.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Verily. The whole idea, Verily, is that cleanliness is next to godliness. Our world of art, we work with something that is so dirty. Paintings are so you have to be very, very alert. And the same thing in terms of presentation. What makes your work outstanding is the presentation, how you present your work, how you present yourself. So those are the main major things that I look at as an artist. I don't want to mess up my work because it's more like a dish that you're preparing for someone, and when you're serving it, definitely it has to be proper.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. I've always wanted